going to speak about the psychology of success. There are two key principles that make up the psychology of success, at least insofar as I'm going to speak about it now. Of course, there are a multitude of details for how you achieve success, but here are two important principles which, when you apply them, puts success, however you choose to measure it, within your grasp. My father had lived through the Great Depression, and when he spoke of success, he meant that someone had made a lot of money. Much to his own consternation, he was never very successful at making money himself, and in his later years came to depend on my mother. Like many people who never fully realized their dreams, he found ways to mask his disappointment. As a child, I rebelled against his singular notion of success in part because his disappointment was so painful to witness. The dictionary tells us that the word success started its life meaning that something was concluded, something was done, good or bad, intended or not. When a thing is finished, it has arrived at its own successful conclusion. You could say that we live the life of our dreams, consciously or unconsciously. We all strive towards our own desired outcomes, and we achieve them according to our own internal capacity or otherwise for inner congruence and focus. So, in the broadest sense, we are all successful. Success now means something very specific, a desired outcome, rather than just any old conclusion. We always have a choice in how we do things. The criteria and the necessary actions for our success is something we must determine ourselves. Some people have the mindset that allows them to regularly fulfill specific goals and ambitions decisively, whether it's to climb a mountain or to be the first person to climb a mountain, a particular mountain, or to climb many mountains. Whatever our mountain might be, each of us deep down has our own measure for our own specific success, regardless of whether we attain it or not. So what does success mean for you? Is it an abstraction, or do you have specific goals, your own specific mountain? Perhaps you've learned to live with disappointment. Perhaps you are afraid of failure, or perhaps you are afraid of success. What picture do you have of your life 10 years from now, 20 years, 50 years? Maybe you have heard that you should simply let things unfold by themselves. You know, even a blank slate or an open door is effectively a picture too. What about happiness? Is happiness the measure of your success? As a child, questioning my father's correlation of success with money, I looked for an alternative to his version of success and began to equate success with creativity, beyond mere happiness, towards ecstasy and creative abandon. I was a romantic even then. I was uncomfortable with and confused by my father's notion of success because he provided no role model other than his own failure. I did not yet have any idea that I might be responsible for my own outcomes, let alone how I might go about achieving them. Success implies measurement. It involves assessment and comparison. We measure ourselves against others and against what was and could have been. You might say that looking for happiness by comparing yourself to others is a kind of madness, yet we do it anyway, out of habit, because it's also how we first learn to live in the world. It's how we learn to make the choices that now define who we are. On our journey from infancy to adulthood, it was by comparing and judging ourselves against others that we formed our core values and identity. But success has very little to do with finding happiness outside of yourself by comparisons with others. Assessment is necessary, but judgment and comparison may be optional extras. Assessment begins with having clearly defined outcomes. This is the first of the two principles of success. When you have clearly defined outcomes, you either fulfill your intention or you learn that you missed something on the way. You ask yourself, why? You can even go a step further by saying, this is the best thing that could have happened. The mindset you create with that statement helps you put your next clearly defined outcome into action, whether it concerns the moment-to-moment details of your daily life or addresses the big picture, call it your destiny. By having clearly defined outcomes, by asking what lessons there are for you to learn, even when challenged by impossibly difficult situations, you are no longer a victim of circumstance. You are now living at cause, choosing your own life. And isn't choice the key ingredient here, the key to your success? You move freely, assessing what you have gained or missed and self-correcting as you go. You are learning to say, this is the best thing that could have happened. The second of these two principles for the psychology of success concerns how you focus your attention. Your focus can be like a zoom lens. You can magnify small details, or you can have a wide view. You can be specific, or you can be more abstract. When you move through varying degrees of abstraction and specificity, you evaluate your options in ways that are impossible when you hold on to a single perspective. By zooming out to a greater degree of abstraction, you are often asking, why, for what purpose? By zooming in to greater specificity, you are asking, how, what specifically? You can even direct your awareness in another direction outside of your immediate range of view to find analogies and a broader context. You ask, what are other examples of this? Some people are caught in details and never get to see the big picture. Others are lost in the abstractions and never get to apply their larger vision. Many people rely on only one singular point of view. When you know the difference between the vision and the details, when you learn to move easily between the two, when you learn to take another tack to find new perspectives, then you have an edge that allows you to give what meanings you choose to such notions as failure or success. There's another element, a theme more essential than any psychological principle of success. It has to do with the simple capacity to focus, to sustain your awareness. Combine that with the principles of well-formed outcomes and the principle of choosing your level of abstraction within a hierarchy of possible perspectives. It's the glue that allows you to navigate your life with a proficiency that will let you define your success on your own terms.